definition of conflict that we often work with is that conflict is where our needs, our values, our goals or our beliefs are not being met or are being blocked, or we perceive that to be the case. And in our experience, it's often a perception that our needs are being blocked rather than the fact that they actually are.
An analogy that I often use when talking about conflict is the iceberg analogy, because you often see so little on the surface compared to what's really going on underneath. And when you're trying to help somebody resolve a conflict, it's really about finding out what's underneath the waterline. What are those things that are going on that perhaps aren't seen or haven't been yet articulated, but are having a major impact on what's going on? I think it really comes down to careful questioning and being a really, really good listener. So picking up any of those signals that are indicating what might be as yet unspoken, and gently but firmly probing down and helping the person to bring those to the surface.
When we think about conflict, people automatically think about the negative impact of conflict and how it can affect individuals' health, emotions, and very much relationships. But there is also a very positive side to conflict, and if parties are helped to work through a conflict, often the place they arrive at the conclusion of doing that is a far better place than where they started. If we think of a conflict, usually there is a trigger which starts off the conflict, and from there one of the parties will make it known to others and to the individuals concerned that there is a conflict. If that's not addressed, that tends to then grow to a point where both parties now polarise and will find and interpret behaviour from the point of view of the conflict. That can be very divisive within organisations and often leads to teams splitting and two sides forming. With what we are looking to do is take people to the next step, which is the final step, and that is one of resolution. And at this point, the parties need to see the conflict from the perspective of the other party. And if they can do that, that will often provide the movement needed to move that conflict forward into a resolution, and often a positive way forward. I would ask them to recognise, first of all, what it is they see as the conflict. So to really understand, first of all, their perspective on it, but also to understand the perspective of the other person and to step in their shoes and really feel it from their perspective. What the person then needs to do is, through some careful coaching questions, understand what are the interests and real needs that are driving this conflict for that individual. And in understanding those interests and needs, that's how they will unlock and move forward from the place of conflict.